I'm going to let Coach start off with a statement, and then we'll take your questions.
Good morning. Yeah, just kind of a different week. I think we had a mandatory NCAA 2 days off after the Purdue game, so we'd been running pretty hard, fast and furious there, and obviously with the reschedule of the Purdue game, going back to the touching on Purdue, got pretty good looks, didn't make shots, and in a game where they did, you have to try to match them. And, obviously Ivy was outstanding, but it was it was a lot of the other guys that Gillis made a couple really hard shots, and we weren't good enough on the defensive end for sustained periods of time that hurt us. But again, I thought we did some good things offensively. I thought we got the ball where we needed to. We got great shots. DeMonte, Jacob, Trent all got good looks. Plummer made some hard shots. But again, I thought, Kofi's presence was definitely a force. He was tremendous offensively. But the crazy thing about it is 2 nights later, they don't make any. So you move on, and we've got a couple days off, came back yesterday and practiced, and we get a Northwestern team that's playing great. They've changed a little bit since we played them last. They're letting it fly from 3, 31 threes, I think, a game here in the last few. Obviously, smacked Nebraska at Nebraska, had them down close to 30. But Bowie and Adige, Barons have all been just letting it fly, and they're playing a little faster. There's a lot more ball screening in their offense than maybe we've seen. But a team that, again, we know is very talented. Nance hurt us in the first game, is a very talented player. And again, a team that's playing awfully well.
Coach, this was a difficult game up in Evanston. You had to make a run at the end there to pull it out. What are some challenges? You mentioned some of them. What are some other challenges this team presents for you matchup wise?
Well, I think the one thing that, they can play really big, if they play young, and Nance, they can play smaller if they want to. Williams kid off the bench, Nance at the 5, give you a lot of pick and pops. They're setting a lot of what we call 1-4 ball screens with certain lineups, trying to create switches for Bowie. But they've gone ball screen action a lot more. They're playing with a lot more tempo, a lot faster. That's a good thing for us. But again, it's, this is a good basketball team, and they've been making shots at a high clip. I think 12 of their first 14 shots against Nebraska were threes. So it's a team that is shooting the ball and feeling pretty. They've got a lot of freedom at the 3-point line right now.
I want to ask about rebounding, Coach. It seems like you're a really good rebounding team for most of the season, but it's tapered off a little bit lately. What's the reason for that, you think? And has it been a point of emphasis in practice?
It's been a point of emphasis a lot lately. And again, what we see is some different lineups. Jake guards most teams' 4s, DeMonte as well. They're undersized, so they've got to block out. And so those guys don't go get rebounds above, where they've got to jump. They're more concerned with blocking out. Our guards have not been rebounding. We haven't gotten rebounds from Trent and Plummer at a very consistent level. And that's, we've got to get, those guys got to get long rebounds. And then everybody just runs their whole team at Kofi. So it's one of those things that, we've got to be dialed into. It's a point of emphasis, and it's something that on both ends of the court, and we got to find ways to get easy baskets on the offensive end. We've got to get guys going back. We've got to, we got to get back to the physicality of the game, and that's one of the things that we've got to get better at.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Brad, Trent had a pretty noticeable limp post-game after leaving earlier in the game. Do you expect him to go tomorrow?
2 days off, he's been good. That helped him.
And do you will there be a restriction, or is he all the way good to go, do you think?
He'll be good to go.
Thank you.
Good morning, Brad. I kind of wanted to ask about RJ. He seems to be this guy who just really trusts the process. And he said a lot of it has to do with where he comes from and his family and kind of wanting to prove them that he's good enough or whatever. As a kid, you speak really highly of him. What is it about RJ that's really impressive to you?
Yeah, I mean, his upbringing. I mean, he's been brought up the right way, and he stands for everything that's good, and he's not afraid of the process. He's not afraid to put in the time. He's not afraid to grow. I think he's trusting that more. He's understanding that more. He's cerebral that way. A lot of kids want to fight the process, and he doesn't. He's grown to accept that and to understand that, in practice, he may only get 3 shots, but you got to come to the gym extra and work, and you got to get a second workout with Fletch, and you've got to stay primed and stay ready, and know that all that work is going to pay off in the long run. And he's smart that way. He understands it. He hasn't got impatient. He's added close to 20 pounds since he's been here in the summer. That body's changing, and his athleticism's being enhanced. So, I think he sees the growth, and you put that with his IQ and his natural instincts and his feel, and it's why I'm really confident that young man's going to be a star in this league.
And then to follow up, what is it about his game that makes you feel like he's going to be a star? Because that's the second or third time that you've
passes it, dribbles it, runs, athletic, plays above the rim. He's got great length, guards it. His IQ, his feel, he's got the ability to go break plays off and get a basket. He's an instinctive rebounder. He's an instinctive cutter. There's a lot of positives to work with from that aspect. And it's just, physically just matching up and getting stronger.
Brad, I want to follow up on RJ. You put him in some big spots against Northwestern and Purdue, including guarding Jaden Ivey, maybe the best guard in the country, when he hadn't played that much in Big Ten play through the first, 9 games. Was that kind of a sink or swim test for you, or what did you see during practice to kind of, put him in that spot?
Well, no, he guards well in practice, and, okay, go guard somebody else that's really, really good and find your way. He's still a little handsy, in terms of, not guarding with his chest, and that comes with physicality in the weight room. But, his instincts are great. He doesn't take a false first step with his slide. He's a guy that has length to contest jump shots. The physicality of getting over screens, he continues to get better at and fight at, but he's got all the tools to be excellent. He did a good job on Ivy. He fouled him a couple times. He didn't have to, but he'll grow with that.
What can he mean to you, Brad? I know what you think about for the long term, but what can he mean for your team the rest of the way?
A lot. He's a live body. He's energy. He's a guy that, we can pitch ahead to and go finish. You saw him catch a ball on the wing and just reject a screen and hit a pull-up jump shot. That was elite. His rebounding is elite. He gets there's a rebound. I mean, his head's at the rim. You know, he's just a guy that gives us a shot of athleticism, gives us a shot of energy and playmaking.
Thanks, Brad.
And then Brad, to kind of follow that, I know Luke and Brandon have each kind of gotten their own stints too. Having all these freshmen kind of play these minutes early, how much does that kind of maybe extend your rotation or ability to extend your rotation later in the season?
Yeah, I hope so. You know, I think you start getting into this time of year. I think that you know, it's trust for me. You know, and I trust all three of those guys. You know, and Brandon yesterday had maybe his best day of practice ever. You know, and he was running on the scout team. You know, you start to see, you know, Luke's development and making shots and his physicality. Now RJ, and that gives you confidence as a coach, not for next year or the years to come, but for the postseason. And you're not afraid to play those guys. And if that can help Jake and DeMonte and Coleman, and it can help those guys and replace, I don't say replace, but we don't lose ground going to those guys, and it gives those guys a chance to recover and stay fresher. Absolutely. That's a plus for us.
And then I guess I know for those kind of three, them getting minutes, how important are they kind of to the future of the program with a lot of wings and kind of guys leaving after this year?
They're huge. That's why you bring them in, and you don't, they're culture guys. They're process guys. They're guys that work. They're guys that fit. And, you know, they're going to be guys that have a chance to elevate their games to really high levels. And they're all different. And they all do something that is has a chance to be elite at this league to allow them to be successful. So, yeah, I'm really excited about those three.
Thanks.
Hey, Coach, we saw Curbelo get extended run against Purdue. How do you feel his chemistry is coming along with the other guys, whether it be on the court or in practice, and just not having a lot of prep time, being out and then coming back?
Better. It's better. You know, that's like, I think one of the challenges of like having to take 2 days off is we don't, you know, we go back into prep mode. You know, so you don't get, it's hard this time of year, guys, because you don't, you know, and we're dealing with COVID and rescheduling. You don't get a lot of practice time, and needs that. But I think the one thing that we're understanding is Bello can get one anytime he wants, pretty much, and he can get in the paint anytime he wants. And it's you know, he's shooting the ball, you know, from three well. He's and it's trying to, you know, find the balance with he and, you know, who's on the ball matchup wise. And that's probably more of our challenge right now. You know, the other night Plummer got going. So you want Plummer on the floor, you want Trent because of his defensive, you know, prowess. And so it's yet Bello was, you know, 15 points in 20 minutes or 21 minutes, whatever it was. He plays with a speed and a pace that we like. So we're continuing to work on it. You know, I think he gives us a lot from the rebounding standpoint as well, because he's a great rebounder. But we're getting there. We're getting there.
What do you think the adjustment is for other guys when he's in there? I know Lash talked about bigs expecting passes from different angles. For others on the wing, or is it maybe we run more when he's in the game? What's kind of the adjustment when he's on the floor?
It's a game-to-game adjustment based on how people play us in ball screens. And, you know, I think one of the things that is different is he's always going to get in the paint. And, you know, sometimes you can be 5 seconds into a shot clock and he's in the paint and maybe nobody else has touched it. Sometimes, you know, you've got to run offense and get it back to him, knowing he's still going to get it in the paint where everybody else has got to look. You know, I think the biggest adjustment, Derek, is when we go with him. And whether it's early in the offense, whether it's, you know, a late clock and everybody's touched it, he's always going to get a shot. And so it's, and have that capability. You know, so it's a matter of just when and where that comes more in the shot clock than anything else. His pace, we need. I love his pace, you know, the pitch aheads, the opportunities to get Plummer shots in transition, Trent shots in transition, Kofi on a rim run like he got the other night. We haven't had one of those in a while. You know, kick head to RJ, you know, Jacob Grandison, trail threes, you know, that pace he plays with helps us. But, you know, in the half court, it's more of, you know, kind of a little bit of IO like, you know, figuring out where we're getting him the ball, how we're getting him the ball, even when he's off the ball. So we're getting better at that.
Thanks.
Hey, Brad, Trent mentioned a couple times on Tuesday night after the game that just there'd be a lot to learn, maybe going back over the film from that one. Was there anything in particular you wanted the guys to take away from Tuesday?
Yeah, we made a lot of scouting report mistakes. Our whole goal going into that game was not trying to give them threes. And, you know, we made a couple of strong side corner mistakes that gave them 2 threes. You know, Plum lost a guy on an offensive rebound. We told him that they kicked to the corners and we worked on it. You know, and we stand and watch and we give up a 3. Those are scouting report mistakes. You know, I think there's some lessons to be learned in how to guard Ivy in a ball screen. You know, I compare it a lot to Luka the other night. Goes for 51. The Clippers switched it, put a 5-man on him. And after getting 6 threes dotted in their eye, they had to change. We probably got to do that a little bit more. And, you know, you get an exceptional talent like that, you've got to show him multiple looks. And so I think there's some things that we can grow from in that game, but we made too many self-inflicted mistakes. We ran really good offense. We got really good shots and didn't make them, but you can't give them 9 threes.
I guess on the getting good shots and not making them front, like this team has shown an ability to figure out a way, even when maybe the shots aren't falling. What's a foundational piece to that? What makes a team good at maybe switching gears when that's not working?
Yeah, and again, a lot more to do with that. You know, you're talking about the number 1 offensive efficiency team in the history of college basketball right now. And Purdue stresses you with that. You know, that you've got an elite pro talent, you've got legit size and 2 guys, and especially Edey. And then you surround them with 40% 3-point shooters. They stress you on that end, and you can't make mistakes. And nights that you don't make shots, you kind of feel that building up, you know, like, you know, and we weren't good enough on the defensive end stopping them. They played great. They played terrific. And, you know, both nights they've played us, they've been very good. And the next games they've lost, you know? So it's, you know, we got to be better, but they put a lot, they're a good basketball team. They put a lot of stress on us and they made shots.
Thanks, Brad.
Coach, I want to ask you a little bit more about Pete Nance. What is it about him that's a matchup challenge for you? I know you're not going to tell me who's guarding him tomorrow, but does his length give you a little bit of trouble?
He's a very, very skilled player. He's very athletic. He's got great bounce. He can deck it. You know, he can shoot the 3. And he's a matchup nightmare. And, you know, that's why that young guy is going to have a chance at the next level. But you know, he's a guy that can play in the mid post. He can play with his back to it. He's got a running sky hook. He's got a 3-point. I mean, he's got a pretty full bag of tricks to go to. And, you know, you've got to make him not just a player on the offensive end, you got to make him play on the defensive end as well and guard. But yeah, his versatility is his biggest strength.
One more quick one, if I could. This game's sold out. We got an email yesterday. It's told everybody the game is sold out. What does that crowd coming back home do for you? Does it give you a little extra lift?
Absolutely, 100%. And after being at Purdue the other night, you know, it was a huge lift for them. It was deafening in West Lafayette the other night. I don't know if I've been in a place that was maybe since Allen Fieldhouse and Bramlage Coliseum back in the day that was as loud as that place was the other night. And our crowd is a big part of our success at home, and it's something that makes this place special. And you know, when you come off one like that on the road, where you saw the impact of the crowd and the noise and how hard it was to communicate and talk, we look forward to that.
Brad, you talked about freshmen and understanding the process. When this day and age, I don't know how easy that is. What is the key to a freshman having that, and you guys kind of, you know, cultivating that and them to be patient with the process?
Well, it starts probably before they get here, Jeremy. I think it's character. I think it's you know, open lines of communication. We don't shy away in the recruiting process of telling guys the word development program. You know, we've got a great strength coach. We've got you know, we look at Io DeSumo, and he's a 3-year guy, and added 30 pounds and, you know, mid-range game, and go through everything else. And it's every player right on down the list. And so we don't shy away from that. No matter what they're being told since they're 14, that they're a one and done and they're a pro, you still have to get them to understand that, you know, that we talk a ton about family and we talk a ton about winning, and winning's really hard. And, you know, most kids have won, but it's come easy for them because, you know, they play in high school where it's an extracurricular sport. Now it's a business, and it's challenging, and it's against the best players in the country, and it's against people that can be 4 or 5 years older than you. And they don't recognize that until they actually get here. But I think, you know, communicating with them, teaching them how to work, teaching them how to deal with adversity. Everyone goes through adversity, and, you know, you can either let it be one piano on your back or 2 pianos on your back, whatever, and keep letting it weigh it down. But if you don't learn to deal with that, you know, you're probably never going to make it here or anywhere else. But so we talk about it all the time, and you know, you can't make excuses, you can't keep score. You've just got to be you. And so we open those lines of communication, and, you know, good. And I live by a saying, good things happen to those who work hard.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you about Io. Double last night, another one. Specifically with his success this year, how much do you use that as a conversation in recruiting for guys that want to have the type of success he had at Illinois and then want to be that guy in the NBA? How much you find yourself talking about Io?
I hope I don't look that dumb, Derek, that I wouldn't use that. Maybe I do. I mean, you probably ask my wife, she might tell you that I am. Yeah. I mean, who I mean, he's an unbelievable resource piece to talk about, because he listened. He's not afraid to listen. You know, I'm watching the game last night, and Alex Caruso in the middle of the game is coaching him up on a you know, a play that was being questioned, wasn't a foul. And he's coaching him up, and Io's sitting there just staring him right in the face. It wasn't, you know, screw this or this or this. I know what I'm, you know, no, that kid's just, and he's such an example of how to do it right, and understand he doesn't have all the answers, and understand he doesn't know anything, and deal with adversity. And, you know, the thing I respect more than anything about Io DeSumo is the big picture for him never, the moment, the game, the play never gets in the way of the big picture. And for him, the big picture is winning. And it's doesn't matter what the situation, he's so focused on winning and how to win and how to be, you know, and that process is incredible. So yeah, Derek, long answer to a great question. We'd be foolish not to show his remarkable growth in his career. And, you know, all we got to do is pull up a film in Maui when he's got every part of his body covered because he was so skinny and frail, and it was an embarrassment to show off his body anyway. But he was afraid to get hit, you know, and now 35 pounds later, you know, here he is, you know, cut up and strong. And I mean, that's development, that's work. And we'd be crazy not to try to sell that.
I figured. Thanks.
All right, that's all the time